Hi all, 23-year-old female here. Today I was in a bookstore when a guy came up to me. He had trouble making eye contact, communicating, and was making abnormal gestures overall. The first thing he did was say hi, and said he really liked my outfit, and that I'm very pretty. He seemed really anxious and harmless, so I continued talking to him. He asked me where I live, got my Insta, and phone number. As he was leaving, he asked to take a selfie with me. I thought this was really odd, but said yes, and then he ran away. He followed me on Instagram a couple of hours ago, but his first and last name weren't listed. So I looked up his Instagram handle into Safari to see if he had other social media. Then I found a DeviantArt account with the same name, with hundreds of saved photos of girls tied up. That's the only thing the account had on it. It wasn't like a bondage kink, but legitimately just photos of girls tied up, abused, and being tortured. I confirmed the account was his by digging and matching the birthdays. Am I being paranoid or should I be worried? He has my first, last name, Instagram, and phone number. This makes me feel really uneasy, and I'm having anxiety. Update, I need help. He found my TikTok account that doesn't have my phone number or name attached. He followed it after I blocked him on Instagram. I'm really scared because I have no idea how he found this account, and it makes me think he has found all my social media accounts. So someone please let me know how he found this account. I'm ultimately scared he's going to find where I go to school, my address, etc. Some people in the comments are debating whether it's a kink or not. One of his favorited posts is an extensive explanation of gag theory, outlining details about lungs, lips, etc., and how to properly stop someone from talking, making noise, continuously using the word victim and captor. I've told all my close friends and my mom the entire situation, including his name, so if anything happens, they will have an idea of who's involved. I've also removed my last name from all my social media platforms and privated my accounts. So this happened a couple of days ago. I live in the suburbs of Northern California with my parents in an upper middle class neighborhood. My parents are away for their anniversary, so I've had the place to myself for the week. So I got home from a late shift at work around 1 a.m. I go inside, shower, then head to the kitchen to make some buffalo wings for dinner. I crack open a beer and sat in front of the TV. I was sifting through movies to watch on HBO Plus when all of a sudden the doorbell rings. It actually startled me to the point that I actually jumped off the couch, knocking my beer over in the process. It's now 2 a.m. and there was no good reason for anyone to be at the door at this hour. I just stared in the direction of the front door for several seconds before it rang again, followed by rapid knocking on the door and the window. Now, for whatever reason, I was no longer scared, but more annoyed at the fact that some idiot would think it's an appropriate time to be banging on someone's front door. I head over to the front door, unlock the deadbolt, and pull the front door open, leaving the chain in place. In the heat of the moment, I did not think to look out the window first. I just yanked the door open. Standing on my front porch was a woman around mid-20s with long, silky black hair, a purple hoodie with black pants. I said, "Can I help you?" To which she responded with, "Yeah, sorry to bother you so late. My boyfriend and I are having some car trouble and our phones are dead. We were wondering if you could possibly let us use yours." She pointed up the street to a dark-colored sedan parked underneath the street lamp, and she said, "See, that's us right there." Now, had this been any other person, and I'd have said no, but she looked innocent, like she was a college student. I live in a college town, and it wasn't uncommon for college kids to be out late on a Friday night. I asked her where her boyfriend was, and she said he walked to the gas station to see if anyone had a phone there. I pulled my iPhone out and told her to make it quick, as I was about to go to bed. She thanked me and said she'd only take 2 seconds. She took my phone, dialed a number, and put the phone up to her ear. After a couple of rings, whoever she called picked up, and she said, "Yeah, it's me, I'm borrowing someone's phone." She stopped talking, and I could barely make out the man's voice on the other end. Now, at this point, I started to feel uneasy. She was taking a lot longer to be done with the phone call, and I started to get impatient. The whole time, she just stood there staring at me with a wide-eyed expression and a creepy smile that looked forced, while this person on the other end kept talking. She finally said, "Okay, bye," and handed me my phone back. She then said, "Do you think I might be able to come inside to use your bathroom?" I said no and wished her good luck before shutting the front door. Right as I was about to walk away, I heard her laugh and say, "You made the right choice." I looked out the peephole, and she was still standing on my porch, but now she has a man standing next to her. He looked to be around her age and was wearing a hoodie and face mask. The pair then started to circle around my house, banging on windows and laughing. I didn't hesitate to call 911 at this point. They stuck around for several minutes trying to get in through my back door. I had my Glock 19 in my hand and aimed at the back door with 911 on speaker, and I was prepared to do whatever I had to do if they got in. They banged on my back door for around 5 minutes before they left. I watched them run up the street to that same black sedan I had mentioned earlier and take off up the street. The cops showed up a few minutes later and took a report. They told me that I was the 3rd person to call them that night reporting a suspicious couple attempting to enter their home. I don't know what they had planned, but I'm inclined to believe it was nothing nice. Moral of the story is, never answer the front door at 2 a.m., especially without looking to see who it is first. I learned my lesson that night. I, a 15-year-old female, was camping with a family friend, a 58-year-old female, for a little over a week. One day, we ran out of clean clothes, so we went driving to look for a laundromat. We couldn't find it, so I ended up having to get out of the truck and ask someone for directions. This was where I made the mistake of asking Toby. He looked around my age and looked harmless, so I went up to Toby and asked for directions. He happily pointed out where it was, and I thanked him and made my way back towards the truck. But it felt like he was staring at me. As I was stepping into the truck, he was standing and facing towards me. So, as a teenage girl, I'm obviously a little creeped out by him. But I gave him a smile and wave as we drove off. Fast forward at the laundromat. I got bored while me and the family friend were waiting on the clothes, so I decided to walk around. While I walked, I passed Toby and his 2 little brothers, who were running around. I decided to walk back to the laundromat to check on the clothes, and while walking back, I passed around 4 to 6 recycling bins. I get back and the clothes still have around 10 minutes left, so I sat outside waiting. I was enjoying the peace until Toby approached me out of nowhere with a pop can. He asked if there were any recycling bins around, acting like he didn't just walk by 5 of them. I offered to take it and throw it away for him, which he allowed. I thought that'd be it, but he just continued talking to me to keep the conversation. Keep in mind, I'm 5'9" and he's 6'2", so I can't easily tell him off without being scared. While I'm talking to Toby, he asks how old I am, which I responded with 15. His eyes went wide and he looked me up and down in disbelief, which is when I asked him for his age. He said he was 18 turning 19, but still proceeded on talking to me, saying how I looked at least 18. which I really don't, and how I was so mature. I nodded my head, hoping he'd go away and take the hint, but nope. Finally, the clothes were done, and I began heading back to the truck before he yells at me for my Snapchat. Now, in the moment, I was still oblivious to his creepiness, so I gave it to him and we shook hands. I get back to the camper at around 10 p.m., and he adds me, which is when I accepted. The first thing he told me to do, yes, told me, not asked, was to turn on my location, which fuck no. I made up some bullshit excuse, and then he wanted to try to convince me to go with him alone somewhere. Like I was about to do that. I ended up blocking him, and that was that. This is from a long time ago. 1982, I was 14 and traveling with my father in Georgia, coming across country from Utah. The bus stopped at a fairly large station in St. Louis. Not sure which one. We were waiting for the bus to refuel, I guess. I was sitting on the bench, reading, and I heard someone go, "Psst," and I looked up to see this guy standing near the men's room door. He was looking at me and gesturing for me to come over to him. I heard someone clear their throat, and I looked over near me and saw a uniformed army guy. The army guy was looking at me and subtly shaking his head no. I looked back at the men's restroom, and the guy is gone. Hello, chill and thrill seekers. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future videos.